Welcome back to the news today. This is the Daily Debate, Israel Elections 2015. I don't understand why Hani Zubida, each and every time that he's here, he's laughing.
I'm smiling. I'm not laughing
You're
yet.
laughing.
Smiling.
Okay, well, this campaign is
It
all about
is.
smiling and laughing.
If you're not vested in it, it's all about laughs.
If I'm already presenting news,
I'm vested in it and I'm going to laugh.
And Yossi Yonah is already...
You might cry at the end, but I hope you're going to smile.
Let me just introduce you properly. Professor Yossi Yonah from the Department of Education at the Ben-Gurion University. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
And number 23 in the Zionist Union Camp.
Camp.
I'm sorry,
in
camp.
English, camp doesn't sound good.
In Israel, yeah.
And you are not presenting
in English. In English doesn't sound good.
It doesn't sound good even
right?
in Hebrew.
Yeah.
Mahane.
المعسكر الصهيوني.
Okay, and you are not presenting. You're already part of this the small show. So. Dr. Hani Zubida, of course. Israeli Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman criticized today the Prime Minister on defense issues, saying, how can we talk about Iran when we didn't even take care of Hamas? And saying that in the next operation, which might be really in the next few days, the aim will be to topple the Hamas regime in Gaza. I thought that the next 3 days are going to be in the West Bank. But
it should be something related with the name Kana. Kana or something with Kana, usually.
Lieberman is trying to bring the focus of the campaign to the defense sector after he announced plans to become the next defense minister. We will try to understand. Stop laughing, you two. We will try to understand today when Israelis are going to vote. What is the weight of security in the decision? Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Lucy.
So explain. So when you're going to vote, do you think about security, Professor Yonah?
Well, I think about social issues.
Oh,
mainly.
social issues,
Yeah.
mainly. Most of the Israelis think about social issues or will think about social issues this time.
It's an undercurrent. I think that nonetheless, it might lead, voting behavior.
This time?
Yes.
And they won't vote security?
They want, of course, I mean, you cannot separate the two issues, they're interconnected in Israel. So I would not say that they would just forget about security issues and go and vote on the social issues, but I think that...
Let me be more clear, okay?
Yes, go ahead.
I understand that the head of your party is really far from being having the image of Mr. Security.
Well, he's trying today. He was leaning on the fence and he was saying Bibi failed in the security.
Are we on air or just sort of corporations?
No, we are on air. I'm saying.
Yeah, we
so
are.
Really?
I understand. So, but really, Benjamin Netanyahu is Mr. Security. Benjamin Netanyahu is bringing what Ariel Sharon did back then when he went head-to-head with Benjamin Netanyahu, and he was Mr. Security. He got this card, which is a really, really, let's say, important card in Israel, because you can always make the people fear that they're about to explode in just 2 seconds.
Well, I think that we've got to dispel this sort of image, because what we're expecting that Sharon or Netanyahu, going to the, being a warrior and fighting personally against the Palestinians. I mean, the responsibility is with the army. So, of course, we are in the realm of images. So, in the realm of images, of course, you've got to dispel this impression that he's incapable of, dealing with security issues. But, well, of course, I know that we might have a problem there, but I think that it is not a real problem. It is a problem about images. So we've got to dispel this image, and I hope that until we get to the ballot, we might be able to dispel, this image.
You know what a woman is saying? You cannot blame a guy for trying. He is trying.
He's trying. He's doing his best, but I think his best is not good enough. We spoke about the campaign. Yeah, I think so. I think it's not good enough for the premier.
Okay.
I hope they'll get the 23rd seat, because I want Yossi Yonah to be in the parliament. But the thing is, and I think that's the more problematic aspect of it, Yossi Yonah from the 23rd seat cannot really be the pinnacle point of the campaign. He cannot turn the campaign. Everybody's looking at Isaac Herzog, and they're expecting him to do something. We spoke 2 days ago, 2 days was it, about cannibalizing, and I told you, wait, Lieberman is going. Yesterday was it?
Yesterday, okay. I didn't spend Saturday with you. I'm sorry.
All right. And I thought about cannibalizing, and I told you Lieberman will start cannibalizing, and we will have to wait and see which part of the political spectrum he's going to start cannibalizing. after he ran to the left, all of the sudden he's trying to cannibalize
From the
right.
Likud?
Yeah, from the Likud.
Yeah, honey, because he's himself being cannibalized.
Of course.
Right?
Of course. I agree wholeheartedly. I think the cannibalization of Israel, our home, started in the last election. When he co-opted with Benjamin Netanyahu, he didn't see what was coming to him. He didn't see the 6 seats that everybody is now forecasting to him. Now, the other aspect is, I think the Labour Party has a team. I think the Likud has a team. The Likud has a great team for Bibi Netanyahu. The Labour Party, the Zionist camp, has a great team for Herzog. They're not playing to their strength.
So just, gentlemen, really, explain to me, in which land the foreign minister is living to say that he wants to be the defense minister with 6 seats? Really, I need to understand this.
I think what he's doing, he's trying to impact the campaign as he's used to in the last 3 campaigns. And but it's slipping away from him, and he's doing his best.
He's not going to be the Minister of Defense.
Of course not.
I mean, what he is trying to do is, to get more and more votes that he would be even able to survive, So yes. It is a fight for survival, but, as if the goal is going to be the Minister of Defense, no chance in the world that this guy is going to be the Defense Minister of Israel. So it's like, look, we are approaching the elections, and everything is permitted, in terms of what you say in order to bring about, more and more power in the ballot. But I see no chance, no scenario in the world that Lieberman, even if he becomes, for instance, if he brings 8 or 9 seats in the parliament, that anybody going to give him these posts.
He's aiming for the sky and he's reaching the treetops. That's what he's doing. Yeah, he's not. I don't even think he's going to be in the next government.
Do you really think that Lieberman will disappear in the next government?
No, I don't think he's going to disappear from the parliament, but I think that Benjamin Netanyahu is going to move for a complete strike of everybody who went against him during the last coalition. Lapid, Bennett, and Lieberman are going to pay for it.
I think that. Do you think that Lieberman?
I don't buy your certainty about that.
No, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Like when the elections are over, the game opens, and everybody is a potential partner. Yeah.
I'm trying to. Did Lieberman think that it's going to backfire at him? The threshold law?
He didn't expect to go down to 6 seats. He never expected that.
So what happened to the great campaigner? What happened to the
He
big...
lost a lot of seats to Yesh Atid, and he thought they were all just talking. He thought he was out there with the 13 seats, 14 seats. And all of a sudden, the elections are coming, and he's with 6.
But look, reality is mischievous. This is what we've got to say about that. Sort of the irony of history. That it shows, again, the limitation of ability to forecast and to influence future events. So you think that by doing that, blocking the Arabs from entering the government, the parliament, you're going to win out. But then it turns out, the opposite thing, that he is now standing a chance or risk of being wiped out from the parliament.
Or by giving some, let's say, left statements and maybe giving a hint to the left, maybe he did a bad thing by not continuing in this way. Because this is maybe a big luck for the Zionist camp, because maybe if he would have continued going in the left,
think that the corruption,
he would have maybe got the voices and the seats
I think that the
corruption, you are right now.
The corruption schemes, this is a trick. That doing him down, I think this is the main thing that bringing Lieberman's and his party down. Not his sort of vacillating to the left or things like that. Of course, they might have some influence, but I think the main thing is the corruption schemes that he and his party is deeply involved.
I disagree. Honorably, I disagree. I think it's a combo. You have to remember, Lieberman was under suspicion for a long time. He was interrogated. He was
not 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. In the last election.
Ago.
And now it's only Fania
Kirschenbaum
who left the political system. But I think it's a combo. I think the combo is the deal right here. I think the combo was, first, he was with Netanyahu. It was the Likud Beitenu. Then he receded from Netanyahu. He tried a new party. He ran too far to the left. He made a huge mistake. his statements
Was it
were-
a mistake
Of
if he
course
went
it
to
is.
the left?
Of course
If
it
It turned
he
out to
didn't-
be a mistake.
If he
Yes,
would
well,
have,
we see,
because
of course.
when you're zigzagging, when you're going right and left, people stop believing. Of course, with
You
corruption
remember Shimon
and
Peres?
Yes.
The best campaign by the Likud, Sefi Rivlin, God rest his soul. Yes and no. Yes and no.
1980.
Shimon Peres, in order to win within the Labour Party, had to run extremely to the left to beat Rabin. But then, in order to be the prime minister, he had to run all the way back to the center, which kind of like made him zigzag again.
Yeah.
Lieberman never did that, beside this time.
But you cannot do it within a very limited span of time,
course.
because then the public remembers
this
that.
is
you know?
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Because
and
if
he-
he would have,
yeah.
let's
Election
say,
campaign.
Yeah, and
6
he
weeks.
is like sort of bringing his cynicism to a very high level, you know. And I think that even his followers seeing that, like, well, where the hell are you standing, you know? But I agree with you that it plays a role. But nonetheless, I do think that the public is also fed up with all, you know, the corruptions that being involved, and you know, he himself, Lieberman and his party, and probably saying like, well, look, enough is enough. We don't want you anymore. Though I hope that there would be a large majority of his previous voters that would say that. I'm not sure though about that.
let's tell Professor Yonah, who's sitting right here with us, been the protagonist of one of the campaigns. People are,
Bennett's campaign.
Bennett's campaign. How was it to be
He's not such an
portrayed?
evil man, we should say so. He's relatively nice. He's not as bad as the Bennett campaign portrayed him to be.
Yeah, and how is it to be portrayed?
Yeah, the monster, you
Yes.
know, anti-Zionist and all this.
When you're seeing your face, like in these big campaigns, when you're seeing your face being portrayed as the evil guy, as the
Yeah.
anti-Zionist, as the guy who is the big traitor of Israel, you wake up in the morning and you say, what? Or
What
you
the-
say, okay, it was expected.
What on earth is going, you know,
What was the
happening here?
similarity, Daesh or Hamas? ISIS or Hamas?
I don't know, you know, it seems that I'm wavering, you know, between belonging to this or to that, you know. Well, I've got to admit at the very beginning, I was shocked and even hurt by this negative campaign, smear campaign, let's call it this way. And it took me a while until I recovered, you know, and I said, okay, you know, Yossi, this is politics. Welcome into this jungle.
Of course.
And now you've got to see how you're going to compete with that. I was actually very much surprised when I was walking, you know, I was, you know, abroad at the time when all these things.
Well, it made you a superstar.
Yes. Yes. So,
Everybody knows who's Yossi
but you
Yonah.
know, the nicest thing that coming out of this is that I got a call from Danny Dayan, who was the chairperson.
Oh, the
of-
chairperson
Yes.
of Judea and Samaria.
And he belongs to this party, and he said, I'm fully ashamed of my party that are doing that to you. And that was
Didn't he
a
just
very noble.
back out, like,
he
just,
did.
Yeah, it was a very noble thing of him to say. And he called me, you know, when I was abroad. And I appreciated very much, you know, his gesture. And I said, would you go out, you know, on air and said that? And he said, believe me, I'm going to do it. And he did it more than once,
Yes.
you know,
Yes,
and
definitely.
it was very encouraging. But you see, at that, well, after you recovering from the shock, and you sort of stand far from it and look at it, you know, from far away, and you say, well, okay, now we know what the story is. I mean, these guys, either the Jewish home or whatever, the Jewish house, how they call it?
Jewish
house.
Jewish
Ah, the Jewish house.
Yeah, well, they
And-
lost it.
Yeah,
They lost it.
of
They
course.
lost it
I mean,
immediately after your campaign went down in flames, I should say, because it didn't work out. Negativity works only to a certain amount. Then they had Eli Ohana, and as soon as they did what they did to Eli Ohana,
You know,
the Likud cannibalized them.
It's going head to head and going like on the head of someone. It became like the let's say the peak of this campaign. And I heard Aleph Bet Yoshua saying that people need to stop competing about using the word Zionist, because it seems that Zionist became like this big word that everybody is campaigning about. And when it's the Zionist camp, the Zionist union, the Zionist this, you're a Zionist, I'm not Zionist, you're a Zionist.
Well, we spoke about it yesterday. I said the Arab Party might be the head of the opposition, and then I got some reactions, and people said, well, they're not Zionists. I think it's the tone of the campaign. Usually you have a word which defines the campaign. Last campaign, it was loyalty. no loyalty, no citizenship, Lieberman's. This campaign, I think, is Zionism. But the thing is, with this campaign, which is really unbelievable about the Israeli society, but I'm going to say it anyhow, people are starting to realize there's more than one facet or more than one way being a Zionist. It's not necessarily that being a Zionist needs to be Islamophobe or an Arabphobe or homophobe or talking about Judaism in a certain manner.
That they contributed to the public discussion,
yes, yes.
Awareness
and I
of
think
that.
it is well-rounded now, and I think I like it. I like it better before it was.
I think that the Zionist camp just has it built in.
Yeah. Well,
you cannot lose.
It's also part. It's also part of the campaign. It's also part of the word.
Of course.
Loyalty, now Zionism.
Gentlemen, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for being here. We're going out for a small break, 2 minutes, and we will have our long friend coming from the Gaza Strip, Dr. Hani Bassous, here in the studio of I-24 News. Don't go anywhere. 2 minutes, and I'll be back.